Welcome back, everyone, to Homie and the Dude. We are here for Avatar Legends, The Last Breath, Fall of the Airbenders, Part 4, and the finale of our series. I am stoked. This has been an amazing journey. As always, I'm Bodhi, your unexceptional Dungeon Master, and I am here with our exceptional cast of players. We have, over on the far left, we have Tracy playing Sister Devna. You've come to love her. You've come to respect her. Sister Devna.
Is she a sister or is she a master?
She's...
Let's not talk about it.
This is not
Do we debate that right now?
Then in the middle, we have the prolific Ben playing the wise, the considerate, and always stoic Master Tufan.
Also known as High Elder.
High
Tufan.
Elder
right.
Tufan now.
Whatever.
Always high.
Also known as, just between him and I, Shithead.
In character and out of character.
No, I'm just talking about in character.
Then finally, over on the far right, we have the other half of the Homie and the Dude team, Tom, playing the fire-hearted, the passionate Asayu Kizu, our resident firebender.
Hell
I
yeah.
thought you were going to say the father of the team.
Yeah, father of the team
It is
as
true.
well.
It is true.
So, a couple of things, guys, before we get into this, couple of shout-outs. Shout-out to Reven, the lead community moderator and one of our lead community members on our Discord. Thank you, mate. You're an
Thanks,
absolute
Reven.
legend. We
Yeah.
appreciate you
Legend.
massively. What you do is awesome. Shout-out as well to our art team of Josh, Vic, and Alex. Shout-out to our live producer, Becky, kicking ass, bringing you guys all the sounds
Becky,
and
can we see your
graphics
hand?
and everything.
It actually is there.
And also, shout out to Underground Oracle Publishing, sponsor for all of our actual play content. They make amazing third-party content for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, as well as also the new Cypher system. So if you're interested in any of that, go check them out. They make awesome stuff. Good friends of ours as well. Cool. Last thing I have to do is a little disclaimer. This content will include explicit things such as descriptions of murder and death during combat. There is body horror. There's definitely going to be some high emotional moments and low emotional moments in this episode. But yeah, just a little disclaimer about that for you
Otherwise,
guys.
it's a comedy.
It is not a comedy.
It's a rom-com. I think there
Right.
might be some swearing.
So, if everyone is sitting comfortably, then let's begin. As I say that, let me put these in. Water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived in harmony. Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Our party, having narrowly escaped the vicious attack at the Northern Air Temple, made their way to the last standing home of the Air Nomads in the east. Upon arriving at this temple, they informed the High Elders of the imminent threat to everyone's lives. A plan was then rapidly constructed and people leapt into action, helping fortify the temple, arming the able-bodied airbenders, and releasing the innocent sky bison into the wild. Once all was prepared, 200 or so airbenders and one firebender gathered in the magnificent front courtyard of the central temple pagoda. With morals and beliefs pushed to the side, they stand here unified and ready for battle. As the full might of the Fire Nation army begins its assault on these sacred buildings and land, the last collective breath of the Airbenders was taken. The camera flies through the clouds and over the land of this island off to the east of the Earth Kingdom. As it does, it glides over thousands of troops that are marching towards the Eastern Temple, guided by machines of death and war that look similar to tanks with caterpillar treads going around them. At the front of this, an airship leading the charge. The camera pans over this and over to the front courtyard. There stand this army of airbenders, unified, breathing in unison, feeling the wind around them as grappling hooks clip onto the walls as machines begin climbing up the side of the temple and Fire Nation soldiers begin climbing into the courtyard. You see the airship rise up level with the courtyard. You can see on it cannons to amplify firebending attached on the sides as weapons. Its nice large red balloon rippling in the wind. The sky still dark red from the comet passing. We cut over to our players. You see the first 3 soldiers climb over the wall, and as they come over, they instantly take battle stance and begin marching forward towards you. What would you like to do? I'll say you've got like a free action as surprise here before we get into the actual combat going down.
I think Tufan's not even gonna hesitate. Tufan's just gonna shout, "Attack!"
Amazing. So Tufan shouts attack. You see the airbenders either side of you look at you. 3 or 4 of them take some gorgeous high kung fu like stances and then begin twisting the air as one of them sends a blast out and sends one of the troops hurtling back over the wall of the courtyard and off of the side of the temple. Anything else from the other 2 of you?
Yeah, she, as Devna hears that, she just says, "Remain strong and firm in your positions."
Beautiful. As you say that, the line of airbenders behind you, doosh, doosh, take wide stance and prepare themselves, ready to hold the line behind the front.
I yell to Tufan and Sister Devna, "I will see you on the other side." And as everyone is moving forward, I actually decide to find a strategic position to what it would appear like not be as aggressive, but I have my mind on one thing. I'm looking at that airship to see if I can see my father, Zarek Kizu. And at this point, I'm strategically putting myself in a place where I won't be in. I can still attack if I need to, but I'm kind of shielded.
Cool. You see Asayo breaks rank, disappears round a pillar just round the corner, and Asayo, you peek round the other side of the pillar as you look towards the airship flying in front of you. You see a man regaled in black armor, shouting commands at people as they run about the ship. You know that's him.
I can see him as my father, but I barely recognize this version of him. I've seen degrees of hate and anger and violence, but nothing like I'm seeing right now.
Beautiful. Right. Should we get into our first exchange as 3 more troops climb over as you begin seeing caterpillar tracks of one of the war machines begin appearing over the side of the wall as well. So, can everyone please select what your exchange type is going to be, what you're going to go for in the exchange, and you guys can converse amongst yourselves.
What are you thinking?
I think that between the 2 of us at this moment in time, our main goal is attack. You've
Your
just
approach,
said attack.
yes.
I think that's what we should do. I think if there's other strategies a bit later through the main attack, but I think you've just
I think for now we want to hit them as hard as we can while there's not too many of them at once.
Right, and
before they build up.
And we're feeling like this gathered strength of everybody, and we still have the full battalion of
Let's not let them gain their footing at all.
Yeah.
Let's just hit them hard.
Yeah.
I too am looking at advance and attack, but I'm doing it from almost from a hidden position so that I can send a fire attack that is kind of under shelter a little bit.
Cool. So What is everyone's approaches then for this one? Are we attacking and striking, or are we attacking? Sorry, defending and maneuvering, advancing and attacking, or evading and observing? What's everyone?
All of us are attacking and advancing.
All AA.
Yeah.
Damn, son. Okay, so team A. Beautiful. And
as I see Devna and Tufan sort of separate from me, I'm trying to look at them to see if they'll turn around one last time to have one last, almost eye-to-eye contact as they seep into the crowd of Airbenders.
It's not even that Devna sort of like, she notices you go off, and her feeling is she's not sort of understanding why, because her thought was we were going to stand here, and she's sort of like confused a little bit at this moment in time, not really understanding why you would leave.
Tom, I would say actually you're probably not involved in an exchange because no one knows that you're going to go for them, so no one is prepared to fight you. We'll have you as a surprise come in with rely on skills checks and stuff like that instead, and we'll come back to you in a minute, okay?
At this point, I turned to Tufan, and I'm like, Tufan, where's the sign going?
I don't know, but I trust him blindly. I think he's got some. He clearly has a plan.
As you say this, something interrupts you. As you look out, you see a bolt of flames shoot from the airship. It hits the far pagoda of the temple. It collides with the side of the building. As it lands, bits of rubble begin to fall away from the temple as roofing tiles begin to come down and the ground shakes beneath you. Cool. Can you guys please roll your stance moves so you can find out how many techniques you guys can do, please?
I'll do.
Yeah. Cool.
Focus. Roll it with focus.
Yeah, that is a 8.
An 8 for Master Tufan, so on an 8 you can use one basic or mastered technique.
Cool.
Roll it with passion. I get a 13.
A 13. Awesome. You can do 2 mastered. You can either do 2 different basic or 2 different mastered techniques, or you can do 1 basic and 1 mastered. So you can do 2 this round.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. Amazing. So the way we're going to do this is based on the order of how this runs. First up is going to be the defend and maneuver approach, which one group of troops is going to do as they come over the wall. 3 of them are going to basically begin preparing themselves. And as those first airbenders are blasting air at them, you see 2 of them poof, combine their fists next to each other, like combining their fists to create a wall of fire that blasts the air up and actually just ignites the flames more, shielding themselves as they take a retaliate technique, and they're going to do a retaliate. Cool. So next up then is going to be the attack and advance approach, and that's going to be you guys first. So you guys can decide out of the 2 of you who wants to go first.
I think because you yelled attack, I think you would be going first. I
Okay.
feel like
Yeah,
that
that makes
you would,
sense.
I'd
be like leading by example.
Yeah,
just like go
exactly.
straight into it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sure. All right. I'm choosing to pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to basically, well, the idea of it is to so they can't do something. They can't do an approach next exchange.
Oh, awesome.
And
Okay.
so what I'm trying to do, I guess, thinking how Tufan's doing this, is he's just trying to send rather than specifically targeted, just a sheer amount of air at them that they're going to be too focused on defending. They won't be able to get into a stance to send something back, basically.
Amazing. As that wall of fire dissipates, Tufan just sends a massive gust, that only a high elder master could produce, as he blasts it, and this just encompasses these 3 soldiers that were in there retaliate. And you're not dealing any fatigue to them at all, are you?
No, they basically, it forces them. They're not. I get to pick an approach that they're not allowed to use.
Beautiful. Tell me what approach next
turn. They're not allowed to attack. They are they have to put everything they have into defending or evading, because otherwise they're getting blown off this cliff.
I love that, dude. I love that. That's gorgeous. And you see the 3 troops that were there suddenly get hit by this. You see them kind of bracing themselves as their feet begin to slide backwards on the grains of sand that cover this courtyard. As they begin getting pushed back, one of those feet touches that wall as he kind of begins leaning back from the high amount of wind that's being shot his way. Sister Devna, go for it.
Yeah, as I have 2.
Oh, wait, Tufan, you have 2 techniques. You can do...
You
oh, no, you got 1. You got 1.
yeah,
Sorry, yeah,
me.
my apologies.
I got the 2.
Yeah, sorry, go on for it.
So I'm actually, my first thing is smash.
Awesome.
Is the first one. And I'm going to try and destroy some of the wall where the things are coming over.
Awesome.
And so that's my aim, is to do that.
Beautiful. Mark 1 fatigue to destroy or destabilize something in the environment, inflict or overcome a friendly approach, positive or negative status. So inflicting or overcoming a fiction, so you can either give a status or you can give yourself a positive one, I believe. Yes, inflicting or overcoming, sorry. So you can overcome a negative one for yourself, or you could overcome a positive one or anything like that. So you can inflict a status, basically.
I want to inflict a status on them.
Do you want to go for trapped, impaired, doomed?
Doomed is what I wanted to go for.
Doomed?
Please. Yes,
awesome.
Please.
So you get 1 fatigue every second. Beautiful. So can you just describe what kind of bending you do to like dislodge this bit of wall where it's grappling onto and coming over?
Absolutely. As I see the machinery coming over, I know that most of the airbenders are actually focused now as the people are coming over, the military are coming over the wall, but my focus is now suddenly on the wall. I'm thinking I could do most destruction there, and I sort of start just with my shoulder, like whipping it up, and I whip it up, and just with that single motion from the hip, I sort of like take that stance and force it forward. What
you see shoot out of Sister Devna's hand as the wind collects and goes is almost like a buckshot of air, as you see like almost pellets of air appear and just whoosh, it hits the wall where the grappling hook is of this vehicle. You see the grappling hook release as the vehicle grips in with its treads, but like begins kind of falling, and now has the doomed status, and will be losing 1 fatigue every few seconds or each round of combat, basically, until it frees itself.
And what's your other thing you're using?
What's the other one you're doing?
I want to whip up. I have directed funnel.
You're doing that wind tunnel again?
And I'm going to whip up a wind tunnel, and I'll take fatigue, because on the courtyard there's, we've had pieces of just equipment that people had taken, and I pick up a piece of equipment that was on the floor, that because normally we don't use things to strike with, and I just pick it up, and I'm going to use 1 fatigue to throw it in as I'm whipping this tunnel around. Beautiful. And I'm aiming it at then the
tank as well.
The tank.
Beautiful. Okay, awesome. That also means, Tufan, if you want to mark a fatigue, you can also pick something up and chuck it in there, or airbend something into the funnel as well. If you want to mark a fatigue, you're close enough to.
I yell to Tufan, saying, Tufan, I'm whipping up the tunnel. You've always helped me in the past. Help me now.
All right. I'm actually going to sort of use my glider staff to sort of just like knock loose a bit of sort of, I guess I'm like almost like paving kind of,
like tile,
kind of
like
like stuff. Knock loose and sort of flick up into the tunnel.
Beautiful.
I imagine is next to me, basically.
T, can you just confirm? Does he actually have to mark fatigue? Can you just read the?
He does. He does. Yeah, an ally has to mark fatigue.
Awesome. How much damage are my guys taking? What's the fatigue and stuff being dealt to my guys?
Okay. It says that they will inflict 2 fatigue to the target or ally.
2 fatigue for each. For each
one of us, and we just take 1 fatigue each.
Beautiful. So, as you see Sister Devna just, the tunnel of wind shoots outwards. As you do this, creating like a barrel of almost a gun in front of Sister Devna. At that point, Sister Devna, you pick up like a loose plank of wood, basically, and you throw it in there. As you do, it slams into the base of this tank, and you hear it dislodge a little bit more as the wheels try and grind in and refine some traction. Then Tufan, as you notice this and you're blasting with one hand, you pull out your glider staff, stamp it down, and then with your foot blast a bit of air that then shoots it into the tube and fires it. That last one, ding, hits the tank right in the perfect spot. You hear as it falls from the wall down below, as you then hear screaming as what you can tell the tank is probably crushed some of the troops that were behind it. Beautiful first round. Asayu, you're over to the side and you see this tank fall down. You see these guys being blasted, but you still see there's one other troop that have now climbed over, and there's about 3 or 4 of them that are now lunging to go in for the attack.
Is it just a single tank, or are there more?
There is another one grappled, but it hasn't made its way to the wall yet.
Okay. I saw, and actually saw, that it was Devna that delivered that. And in sort of to myself, I say, yes, Devna, yes. And I now have seen her strategy. And as that thing is grappling up to the wall, I want to deliver, if I can, my explosive blast. So it's sort of behind the wall.
Yeah.
I want to go right at the wall where it's trying to surface over the wall.
And just like blow up where the hook is and let it fall.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go for it. So roll a rely on skills check. Big numbers, baby.
Yeah. So that's a 10 plus. Is there any pluses on that?
No. Yes, it's focus, plus focus.
My focus is... I think it's a -1 actually. Oh no, it's +1, so it's 11.
11.
Nice.
Beautiful. With an 11, can you just describe, so you're going to just shoot an explosive, describe that to us.
Yeah, but it's almost like a sniper shot from here because it is such a far away, and I'm trying to calibrate where in that wall I can hit that it will loosen the wall, and it will loosen it or jar it enough that the hooks will fall back down. So I'm really sort of trying to align it more. And as I do, I'm just getting my focus in place so that when I shoot it, it comes out like an arrow.
So what I'm imagining is, it's almost like you hear like a shot, and actually you don't see the flames, it's just that heat haze shooting through the air. But then as it collides with the stone wall, boom, a massive fiery explosion happens. You see the grappling hook explode into a couple of pieces as the chain link that was pulling it up, ching, and you just hear again, down below on the mountainside of that tank falling. You guys see this massive explosion go off, and you see that tank grappling hook fly into the air and then disappear as that tank falls to the ground.
At that point, I sort of understand a bit more now why Sayu went off. He's coming from another angle, and I actually in my head go, yes, legend. Like now I'm like, what a great, thinking, what a great movie. Yes.
At this moment, another troop climb over, so you now have 3 groups of troops, one that is being held down by Tufan, and the other 2 that have climbed over. The one that had climbed over originally and were kind of free, about to charge in, they charge in, and you see one of them create a flame blade. Sister Devna, as you look over and watch this group running into your airbenders, you see one of them create a flame blade. Sister Leo goes to do a position, and as she does, she leaves herself vulnerable from one side. He sidesteps and slides the flame blade up under her ribs before pulling out and then sliding it into her neck.
Sister Leo!
You see her, as he pulls it out, no blood falls because the flames cauterize the wound, but she just falls to the side, dead.
At this point, I know we're in trouble because I know what a master Sister Leo was. Having grown up with my mother and the 2 of them being of such high rank, I am just like now, like my body has goosebumps. I'm just like, almost like shivering. The air in me is almost like my own personal air is vibrating within my body because I'm knowing that we are now in a hell of a fight.
Awesome. Right. Between exchanges, are you guys staying engaged with the soldiers in front of you? Are you guys continuing to battle those guys, or are you changing your plan as we possibly go into another exchange or not?
Knowing that these guys can't attack if I keep this up, I'm gonna keep doing that.
Cool.
But also be ready to attack another group. Now knowing that these guys can't fight back right now because they're so like on the edge, basically.
Beautiful. Okay, so you're gonna keep attacking.
I'm going to continue to attack at this moment. Cool. I've just seen Sister Leo, and so I'm just fueled to try and defend and attack.
What about Sayo? What's Sayo doing? Are you re-engaging? Or are you like?
I am actually looking through the crowd of airbenders, and I see Nihan, the young boy that I had a connection with. He is charging into the fray, and I'm really concerned right now. And
he is fearless. This young boy, filled with the hope that you gave him, is charging into the fray, and you see him using like basic airbending techniques, but he's getting the best of some of these firebenders. You see him like blast away a hand, blast away someone's foot, and then punch a dude in the face as that guard falls, as that trooper falls back. And then suddenly you see a large firebender come up behind him.
That's at that point, I want to strike that firebender.
Cool, beautiful. So let's come. Are you breaking cover and going for him, or are you staying in cover?
I'm breaking into the clear so I can get as clear a shot on this firebender as I can. So even if it means that I'm more vulnerable.
We're going into full combat exchange then. So can everyone please tell me what your approach is?
I'm AA again.
AA?
Yeah.
Cool.
AA.
AA.
I'm gonna go evade and observe.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome, we love a good bit of that. Cool, and then these guys are going to go, and these guys are going to go that, and then these guys are going to go. Cool, beautiful, okay. So anyone who's defending and maneuvering, anyone? No, none of my guys are as well. Cool, anyone who is advancing and attacking?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Can you guys please make your stance move rolls to see how many techniques you get this turn? You're adding passion for advance and attack.
Soapy 6. I rolled so I had a 9, but I have a -1 for passion, so I have an 8.
An 8?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. An 8 gives you one basic or mastered technique.
Yep, I'm gonna strike.
Cool. We'll come back to that in a second. T?
I only rolled a 6.
You rolled a 6, so you can. So basically, for you, what you can do is you can shift your balance away from center if you do want to use a basic technique, or you can forego your opportunity to attack this turn.
I think I will shift it away from center.
Cool. Which way are you shifting?
Well, I have to shift away towards excellence because I'm already heading that way.
Cool. Beautiful. As you see Sister Leo go down, you're kind of stunned for a moment, but then you regain your composure and are ready to battle. So cool. You guys can decide who's going to go first out of the two of you.
I'm happy to strike. The timing is of the essence because I see this large firebender.
I think that's what you should do if you're trying to save the young lad. So, and I'll
go for it. So with a strike, so you basically you can strike a foe within reach, forcing them to mark 2 fatigue, mark a condition, or shift their balance away from center. And that's my choice. Or you can mark 1 fatigue, hammer me with blows, and then you force me to take 2 fatigue, or inflict a condition, and that's your choice, basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the latter, which is to inflict as much damage on him. I'll take 1 fatigue to try to save.
Cool. And you're gonna inflict 2 back, I assume.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. So you see Sayo break cover and almost come from the flank, run behind one troop of firebenders and round the corner. As you then come, can you describe how you're going to try and attack this guard for me, please?
Well, this is the one of the few times I've been actually in real battle. I'm getting confident because my last strike was on point, and so as I come around with assured steps, and I get myself to a place where I have a direct line of attack, plant my feet, and I take another really sort of focused. Everything right now is around focused accuracy, and I go for his heart with focused accuracy. And this is again my explosive blast.
Cool. So, explosive blast. Can you just read? Does that do? So
it says fire a sparking, spitting beam of focused energy that explodes when it reaches its target. Your target must either dive for cover or take the blow. If they die for cover, they mark 2 fatigue. So that would be 4, I believe.
No, because you either when you either strike or you do your explosive thing. They're different techniques.
Okay, so if they die for cover, they mark 2 fatigue and become impaired.
Yeah.
If they are already impaired, they cannot die for cover. If they take the blow, they mark 4 fatigue.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do then is you don't actually need to mark any fatigue for that at all, so you can remove that. What we're going to have then is as Asayo comes around the corner, Asayo, you're going to plant your feet, and this time you're going to blast it from your leg. So you're going to throw a roundhouse kick, bah, and you're going to throw this kick in, and you're going to try and just send out this blast of fire. As you do, towards the guy who's about to attack Nihon from behind, you see 2 other Firebenders who happen to be running to try and attack someone else get in the way of the blast. Both of them, poof, explode out into different directions. You see limbs fly off in different directions as blood splatters some of the nearby people. As the kind of smoke clears, you see the guy move away, and Nihon's body lies lifeless.
Nihon!
As he then moves in back into the fray and goes to attack someone else.
For one moment, I take a step forward as if to sprint forward and like collect his body. But I think twice and I think about my greater goal. And I look up at the airship and I see my dad. And my fury, my anger has redoubled at this point. This poor young airbender has been, along with everyone else, this has hit me really hard. Because this young, innocent airbender has had to lose their life for something that is just meaningless, just egregious damage and torture and hurt to innocent people.
Yeah. So, Sister Devna, you see this explosion go off as you see body parts of Firebenders go flying all over the place. And at this point, you can see that there's, so you've got 1 troop that Tom just took out entirely. You've got 2 left up there, plus the one that Ben is keeping under pressure at the moment. And you can see one of the troops comes into the battle, while the other one begin making their way around the side, ever so slightly. Still in the courtyard, but begin making their way around the side. Go for it.
At this point, I'm sort of like quivering. The air within me is sort of quivering. I've now become so focused after seeing Sister Leo lose her life, and I am literally going to strike. I'm going to like swoop myself because I see that Tufan is doing what he needs to do. It feels like there's some good cover coming in from Asayu, so I am going to step out because I do not want someone flanking our troops and coming then from behind to possibly take us out from. And I sort of like step to the side and I just pull everything up from my very, very being. And as I do that, I notice on the ground there is sort of like, you know, when you're in a temple or you're in a monastery and they have sort of like statues, like smaller statues and thing around, and I whip that up into a wind tunnel and I blast a small statue towards using my directed funnel.
Let me ask this. This round was the one where you had to shift your balance, right?
Yep.
That is to stumble.
Towards excellence.
Yeah. Unless you can stumble, bounce away from center, choose one basic technique. So it's got to be a basic one. It can't be your wind funnel this time.
Oh, it can't be?
No, it has to
okay.
be a basic
All
one.
right. Well, then
Apologies.
I will just have to, you know, shift,
Strike.
maybe strike. But can I use it like shoot air at him?
Yeah.
Can that move one of the statue? Like, can it move like the statue to like hit or something?
Yeah, go for it.
What
So
I'd like to do.
it's the same thing that Tom had. It's you can either mark 1 fatigue and then deal 2, or I can choose whether I take 2, change my
No,
balance.
I'm going to take 1 fatigue at the moment.
Go for it.
Myself.
You take 1 fatigue, and then I'm going to take 2.
Yeah.
So, Sister Demna, you release the air tube, and as you see this troop kind of making their way to the side, you basically charge forward, and as you do, you kind of take this gorgeous position and shoot out a blast. It catches 2 of them off guard, lifts them off the ground, and 2 of them go flying off the side of the courtyard, completely gone. You hear, ah, you know, that like Wim Hof scream as they fall off like the side, basically. Cool. And then finally we have the E and the O's. the evade and the observe. What's Tufan doing?
So I guess I should quickly roll stance move, see how many I get.
Yeah,
right?
go for it. While that happens, one of the troops comes in and is going to basically just strike and deal damage to a couple of the airbenders and take out a couple more of the airbenders as a troop comes in and just starts blasting them. And they come in with that tight Muay Thai stance and are just poof, 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 blasting flames at them basically as they rush forward.
Let's see. If I rolled a 6. What does that mean?
A 6. A 6 means that you're gonna have to do you're gonna have to shift your balance if you want to do a basic technique.
All right, I'm gonna shift my balance towards trust, which actually makes sense for what I'm trying to do here anyway.
Cool.
So I'm trying to. I'm basically looking around for other airbenders while I've just been like keeping this one group of firebenders at bay.
Yeah.
I'm looking around for other airbenders to sort of like help, like give advice to, and like say do this, I'm gonna sort of say like.
So you bolstering and hit or hinder?
Exactly, bolster or hinder, and basically maybe to like warn them or like give them that kind of thing. Is there any like maybe the Bison Master? I'm looking for people I recognize.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I would say you can give positive statuses. So you can actually give people like empowered, favored, inspired, prepared. Or you could also hinder an enemy by giving them inflicting an appropriate status as well.
Okay. Tell you what, I'll try and hinder one of the enemies actually then. In that case, I'm gonna try and stun one of the groups of firebenders.
Cool. What are you gonna say? What's gonna be the thing that you say, or how do you apply this status basically? How do you stun them?
I'm going to actually take in a really deep breath.
Yeah.
And just like scream so loud.
Yeah.
Like directing the air directly towards their ears.
Yeah.
That like it like
beautiful.
Make their ears bleed and like they're just like unable to like hear or do anything for a second.
I love that, massive. That's absolutely amazing. That's awesome. So you see this trooper guard just as this like banshee like scream hits them, and they're just like convulsing in pain as their eardrums are popping in their heads. Cool, amazing. That's that round. As you guys kind of begin shifting on the battlefield, and you see this battlefield kind of taking shape, you can see more Fire Nation soldiers are climbing over the wall, more troops are kind of appearing, as the Airbenders are kind of in groups dealing with what they can, but you can easily see that you guys are starting to get overwhelmed. The numbers are starting to go the other way. And as you notice that, Tufan, you look over and you see the Bison Master do something very similar to you, but he does like a deep like as he does that. And you see a nimble firebender kind of like see this blast coming towards him. You see he plugs his ears, ducks under like the wave of air, ducks under it again, slips round, and then punches upwards underneath his chin, creating a flame blade above their hand, stabbing up into the Bison Master's head. As he falls, his limbs fall limp, and they release as then his body falls to a crumble on the ground.
Says this, he goes, "No!" And like, as he does this, I think I've kind of like released like the air blast that I was doing on this group, like this round's ended as well. So
beautiful.
Like,
okay. Gorgeous. I love that. That's absolutely perfect.
Lots of concentration.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. So, at this moment, so you're kind of in the middle of everything. There's bodies kind of all around you. You're dealing with what you can, around you, fighting off what's there. However, you two are kind of like at the edge at this point, and you see a troop of Fire Nation soldiers climbing up the side of the temple, like probably a good way away from you, probably 100 feet away from you. But you know where they're climbing up to, that there's an entrance to where the sanctuary is, and you know that that's where Nuon is as well. And you can see there's probably about 4 or 5 of them making their way up the side of the rock, climbing up with hooks, and then climbing in basically through the building.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do?
Seeing this, I realize we've got a big problem. Like, they're sending more numbers to the sanctuary than like or almost
Yeah.
equal number of people there as on the wall itself, then the people in the sanctuary are in huge trouble because we've got basically all our able-bodied airbenders out here.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of like look around for Asayo and Devna and just see if I can like yell to one of them. Can I see them in battle?
You can, as you look around, again, just bodies running everywhere. You get bumped into as you see a big blast of fire from the airship hits the central temple pagoda right above you as debris falls upon the battlefield, and a couple of people are hit by like rocks and things like that. Dust kind of falls up, and again, just kind of chaos. You're trying to find what's going on, but it's just a fucking shit show all around you, Tufan. You manage to spot Devna off to one side. You can't quite see Asayo from where you are.
Okay. I sort of yell to Devna and grab her arm like, they're going for the sanctuary. We need to go now.
Frost, quick, let's go. These guys have got it. Come on, let's run.
As you say this, you guys peel off and go to start running away. And as you go to run away, suddenly you feel like some heat behind you as you both turn to see two Firebender soldiers blasting like a flamethrower blast towards you. Monkey Atso steps in front of the blast. Blast like an air shield defending you guys from the heat and goes, "Go! I'll catch up to you. I'll be right on your tail. Don't you worry about it." As he's holding off this flamethrower heat from you guys.
Thank you. And I just like full pelt like blast like air behind me to like sort of just send myself like over in that direction as quick as I can. Beautiful.
Cool. At this moment, we're gonna follow you two as you cut into the temple and you start running through the hallways. As you do, boom, another big hit, and everything kind of shakes for a second like an earthquake as beams behind you fall to the ground and begin kind of creating debris in your path. As you run down the hallways,
I was just going to say, I'm going to actually airbend like a cushion of air around us as we run, just to sort of shield us in case any debris hits.
Beautiful. Any falling little bits are kind of bouncing off this air shield.
Yeah, well, as I'm going, my back foot that's up as I'm running is shooting air out of it to sort of like keep any debris and you know, things coming behind us behind. So each footstep is as it's behind me. It's like foof,
beautiful.
Foof,
as you guys round the corner to the hallway that leads to the sanctuary, you find three guards, three troops, soldiers with their back to you guys. And then Nuon is fighting two of them herself. You see her, and as she does this, the ground opens up around one of them. He falls into the ground and she seals it back up around his neck. As she does this, she runs and punts his head as hard as she can, snapping his neck back and leaving him limp there. As she does this, one of the other guards comes up and she goes to block with a high block like this. He basically slashes down with fire and scorches and burns her leg really badly, actually opening up a wound on her thigh. As she does this, she takes stance again, but you can see she's a little bit weak on that front leg. Cool. We are back into combat, so you can tell me. Actually, we're going to have a surprise round as you guys arrive around the corner. You guys get 2 free actions as you want them. Go for it.
Cool. I'm going to go for a weak spot strike. It's one of the things, and what I'm intending to do is I'm actually going to use my glider staff as a ranged weapon in this case. I'm going to sort of, with this hand, sort of like twist a bit of air to like kind of like a wind funnel, I guess, but it's not quite. And then just like using it really as like an aiming thing.
Yeah.
Before like sending my glider staff at the back of this guy's head.
Beautiful. I love that. Roll me a rely on skills check for me.
Cool.
T, what's your action?
I'm so shocked at seeing that Nuon is, you know, and I'm...
It's Nuon. It's Nuon dealing with them. Go for it. Continue.
I'm so worried, you know, about this. So I'm going to like rush forward, and I feel like, can I do sort of like just a maneuver that I want? That can I?
Yeah, it's anything you want.
We're out of the battle.
Yeah. It's about, so you can do any. We're just going to rely on skills check it.
Okay. At this point, I use the wind to sort of like, they've not seen us coming. I'm going to use like air, wind, and I'm going to run up the walls
Mm-hmm.
and come down with my sort of like, you know, my
Elbow.
down onto the guy that's like by Nuon. So I'm
Beautiful.
using the wind to sort of like silently
Awesome.
take me up the walls and come down and run down and land
Awesome.
like, you
Beautiful.
know, like that kind of thing.
What did you get? Rely on skills check.
Okay, I rolled a 4 in total. So I'm imagining it just fucking whizzes past this guy's ear.
Yeah, so as you fire it, it goes flying past at the last second. He manages to like slip it ever so slightly. It shitting lands and hits into the wall and actually cracks into the wall and is like, as it's stuck now in the wall on the opposite side of the room. Devna.
I get a 9. I rolled a 7 and I have +2 because it's rolled.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So as Devna, you run up the wall, and as you do, you've done this a lot of times, but you've never done it in this space before. So judging it isn't quite. You don't quite get it exactly right, but you manage to like get all the way around. As you come down with a massive elbow, but it would have done a little bit more force hadn't you taken a small misstep along your run. But as you go over all the other 3 and come down, and land a heavy elbow on this guard. You see his neck almost like accordion squish as it goes, and you hear a nasty crack as he falls lifeless to the ground. Not sure whether he's unconscious or not, but just out cold.
I'm Gail turned to Noah and I'm like, it's us, I'm here for you.
She's like, oh, thank God. And then is like gonna take stance and get ready to fight. So cool, now we're in a combat engagement. Choose your approach, guys.
How many Firebenders are there?
There are, so the one that Nuon just bopped his head, he's done. Then the one that's unconscious, so there's 2 left.
Okay.
What do you want to do? What do you feel like
you're
going to do?
I'm going to defend and maneuver because Nuon's injured and there's 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can take them both out instantly.
Yep.
So I'm going to choose to air cushion sort of me and Nuon if I can. I'm going to basically try and get in front and air cushion. If that's possible.
Well, I've got wind run and I can like run around and I dodge attacks and I escape and I can literally, you know, get in position ready to support you as well, where they don't, you know, see me.
Yeah.
So
nice.
What do you think? Or do you wish me to attack, like if you're going to cushion and stuff, maybe I should attack that final guy.
Since I'm cushioning, I say, and there's 2 of them apparently still
left.
So,
exactly.
So I think, you should attack one of them.
All right, sounds good.
Cool, approaches. DM. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool, 2-fan DM. Cool, and...
I'm going to AA, attack in advance.
Cool. Cool. Beautiful. So, first up is 2-fan. Go for it.
Cool.
Do you want to roll your stance moves?
Yeah.
How many techniques you can got? T, roll yours as well.
Yeah.
That's a bit better. Cool. What does that roll with the defend and maneuver? Let's see.
Passion.
Focus. Good. All right. That means got a 9. Cool.
You got 9?
Yeah.
So you get 1 basic or 1 mastered. T?
I rolled a 9, but as it's with passion, I've got a +1, so I've got 10.
Cool. So you also, so you get a 10 plus. You get to do 2 mastered or 2 basic, or 1 mastered or 1 basic. So you get the 2 again. So Ben, go for it. What's your technique, brother?
I'm gonna choose to. Oh wait, that's okay. I'm gonna choose to divert. So I'm stepping into the way of blows intended for allies. When any ally within reach suffers a blow, this exchange, you can suffer it for them. If you also retaliate this exchange, I can't retaliate. I don't have enough stats movement, so don't worry. Just the first part.
Cool. Beautiful. That's awesome. So anything that is going to be done to someone else nearby, you take the hit, basically. And you're going to take whatever damage is dealt to them, basically. Beautiful. Ooh, that was... You see, 2-fan just step around one of the Firebenders and step in front of Nuon and take like a stance, as suddenly you have the 3 of them next to each other facing off against these 2 Firebender soldiers. Cool, awesome. Nuon, kind of like as you step in front of her, is like, hey, thanks.
It's alright, I got you.
Amazing. Cool. Over to AA.
So I see that.
Oh, my apologies. Sorry. One of the two guys is going to
sorry.
take a defender maneuver, and he's going to
Sorry.
retaliate. So he's basically just going to take a small step back and prepare himself in a combative position, ready to kind of counter shot if one of you comes close, basically. Go for it.
So at this point, I've seen that Tufan is basically,
Yeah.
protecting Nuon, and I'm like, Nuon, protect the others. And I literally want her to sort of like try and get out of the scene. So I'm sort of like yelling this to her, and in the meantime, I'm going to try and destroy and disable some of the building that's above, like where the the guards or whatever the military are.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot an air blast at the roof to try and come down onto
So
them.
smash.
Smash. I'm going to use smash.
Awesome. Mark 1 fatigue. Beautiful. As Devna kind of takes place, and can you are you sending like a thin blast? What type of?
Because I know that I've got to sort
Yeah.
of like, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
two. I sort of, as it comes out, I want it to come out thin so they don't really observe what I'm doing, but then it sort of like splays out almost like a shotgun. You know how it's sort of small,
Kind of like
and
a
then,
firework. It like goes
Yeah.
out small and then.
Yeah,
So you see this blast
exactly.
of air just like a needle through the air, and then it just so happens that there's a small like candelabra hanging from the roof that is used for lighting in the evenings, hanging above one of the two troops. You hit right above it. The wind knocks it. It falls and lands on the dude. As it does, it impales into his shoulders, and he's now kind of wearing this candelabra that is like impaled into his shoulders. He's like, ah! Ah! And as that happens, the one who was kind of preparing himself sees that as you're like this, sees that as you're unprepared, is going to step forward and blast a fire bolt at you, basically, and hit you with that. So can you please mark 1 fatigue, please?
How many fatigues do you have?
I am now on to 5 fatigue.
It's beautiful.
Did you say that's beautiful?
I said that's beautiful.
I'm doing what I
He's new,
can.
isn't he?
I take that.
It burns burns on the armor. It kind of crisps and darkens the beautiful leaf armor that you were wearing before.
Yeah.
Turns it from autumn to like black.
And so what I'm going to do is then strike. Can I strike?
We're gonna come back around to a new round of.
Okay, I thought I had 2.
Oh yeah, you do
Sorry.
have 2. Sorry,
Okay,
yeah, you're
sorry.
totally right. Yeah, my apologies. You go.
Can
You're totally right.
at that point, I am just like, I'm so sort of like shocked. I thought that this blast was going to come down, and I literally, my first reaction is, and it's purely reactionary at this point. I am not thinking about anything of how we, don't like to, cause harm or anything. I just literally send out, it's like a fist of air to the guard, the military who's done this to me. It's like this,
Boom. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, because you're striking, you can either mark 1 fatigue, but at this point you're going to be taking a condition.
Yeah.
To mark 2 on me, or I can choose whether I get mark 2, whether I take a condition, or whether I shift my balance. It's up to you. Do you want to choose, or do you want me to choose?
Oh gosh, I guess I'm going to choose.
Go for it. So you take a condition. Which condition are you taking? I reckon angry makes sense.
I was going to either angry, or I'm starting to feel afraid at this point. Like
Cool.
Whichever.
Cool.
Do you get to choose?
Let's go
or
with
do
angry. I
choose?
think angry feels appropriate
Okay.
in this moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
fine.
Cool, beautiful. You take the angry condition.
Yes.
As you blast out, and what you do basically is the one who was wearing the candelabra, you hit him again. You lift him up, and as you do, he lifts up in the air and smashes his head against the roof, not only cracking his neck, but impaling that candelabra deeper into his shoulders. As he falls back to the ground, lifeless, you see him on the ground like, and he tries to like spark off some flames, and just a small spark emits as he then eyes close and fades away. There's the one kind of stood left there. Nuon quickly like this with one rock arm and one normal arm, brings up stones that then collide around his ankles and lock him in places. He then receives the trapped condition, trapped status, and he's like trying to break free and like burn off the rocks as he's now trapped. At that very moment, from behind him, a whip of air whip around his arms, pulling his arms back. You see the bushy mustache and old wrinkled head of Monk Gyatso poke out from behind him as he's holding this guy back, as this guy's like trying to like move and like wriggle free, but he just can't. He's at the bay of you guys as he stands there. He's like, you won't get away with this. We're gonna kill every last one of you. You watch, you're all gonna fucking burn. We're gonna burn everything.
Damn, okay. I walk over to my glider staff that is currently impaled in a wall and just sort of I think it takes a few tugs to get it free at this point.
Sorry, go. I beg your pardon. Sorry, go.
And yeah, once I've got this thing free, I'm just like, at the very least, I can't leave this guy conscious. At the moment, my priority is just though like we need to get like Nuan and all that to safety. So it's a very just like quick and decisive, just like bop to like fucking
just like a little boom. I whip him across the face and put him out basically.
Yeah, and then I like Nuan, trap him in some earth for us, will you?
You see his like limp body still being held by Monk Gyatso, and she's like, swing him over there. As Monk kind of leads him by the air whips over to the wall. She encases him in the wall and wraps stone around him so that just his mouth and nose are left visible so that he can breathe, basically. Nice. She locks him in stone, basically, there.
I go, no, we have no time to waste. Make haste. Get inside. Take them down. Take all the people who are sick, not able, get them out of here. Go into the sanctuary. We've got you. We've got you here. We will defend the doors. Go now.
You see Nuan go to take a step and like protest this statement. She takes a step. You see her fall down on her weak leg. She's like, I have to stay with you. I promised I would protect the sanctuary with you. I can stay. I can fight. I'm still able to fight.
You will be protecting. You'll be protecting everyone inside by getting them out. Come on. This is sensible. We're here. We've got Monk Gyatso. The three of us can do this, Nuan.
As you say this, the building shakes as more rubble at the end of the hallway falls to the ground. You can hear off in the distance screams and shouts kind of happening off in the distance deeper in the temple. Nuan looks at you and Monk Gyatso and goes, but I can't just leave you guys.
Nuan, we can't hold this place anymore. There's too many of them. There's no other way. The only safe place for you to go is away from here.
But surely there's
Nuan, go.
Please, Nuan.
We're begging you. Go now.
You see Monk Gyatso walks up next to you two and goes, as he brushes his mustache, and you can see that it's kind of dyed red from some blood that's on there now, as he goes, young Earthbender, the time is not ours, and the temple is going to be taken. You should see the courtyard. It's chaos. But you have a chance. You have a chance to save all those people in the sanctuary and yourself. If you go now, you might be able to get a wide enough head start that you can all escape. Nuan looks at him and looks back at you two as if to say something. Keep me here. Don't send me away.
I walk up to Nuan and put my arms around her and hug her and sort of whisper in her ear, like, I need you to be a hero for us. There's nothing else that can be done here, and I need you to save those people and keep them safe and take them to the ships. Can you do that?
You see her just instantly, like, this strong demeanor just kind of crumble away as she starts just like crying and sobbing.
And
She looks up at you, looks at her sister, and goes, "But you're all I've got left. If I leave, what then?"
Tufan's right. Just listen to. Time is of the essence. Time is so important. And I keep checking
Over your shoulder.
behind. Go with our love. That's the main thing. Go with our love.
Remember us as we are now, and as we were at the wedding. I don't want you to see me die.
You see her grip onto Tufan. She kisses you, placing her forehead against yours and her nose against yours as she kisses you, and you feel the wet cheeks from her tears as she does, just bringing herself as close to you as possible, connecting almost every part of her body against yours. As she holds you and kisses you passionately, pulls your head away, and goes, "I will never, ever forget you." She looks at Sister Devna. "Any of you, I promise, and I will get these people out of here, but you promise me that you will do everything you can to come and find me in the Earth Kingdom. You promise me you will get out of here and you will come find me. Okay? Promise me."
Carry on the Beifong name.
"No, because you will be there. Come find me after this."
Go now. Go now.
I promise you, Nuan, that in this life and the next, I will always be with you. I swear to that.
You see her take a sharp breath as Monk Gyatso steps forward. "If you leave now, make sure that you go to the White Lotus. You deliver the message that Avatar Aang is alive and that he is somewhere in the south. We don't know where, but you tell them they're the sworn protectors of the Avatar and they will do everything they can to find the boy. Hopefully, he can bring change to all of this and right the wrongs that the Fire Nation have done, but that lies with you, Nuan. You have to get that message to them. That has to be done." Nuan wipes away some tears. "I can do that. I can definitely do that." You see her run to you, Sister Devna, hug you one last time as she brings you in tight and whispers, "Oh, how I wish we could jump on the bed. Just one more time."
Just think of the smile on my face that last morning. That morning of your wedding, us jumping on the bed. Just remember that. Now go.
She releases you. She puts a hand out to Master Tufan. Grabs your hand, goes to take a step to leave, but comes back, embraces you again and kisses you one last time, holding you and looking you in the eyes as she then releases you. Woshini Day, forever.
Woshini Day.
With this, she turns, begins opening the large sanctuary door through the mechanism that's there. The large stone door slides open as you all feel the vibrations. As she limps in, you can see the faces of children, women, old, young, men, all as the door opens, scared for a moment as they see Nuan, and Nuan goes, it's okay, we're getting out of here. I'm gonna get you all out of here, okay? Everyone grab your stuff and start making your way towards the statue." And as she says this, the sanctuary door begins closing. She turns to face you guys as if to say something one last time, and she goes, as the door shuts.
I put my hand on Tufan's arm. And I just,
She'll be okay.
we've got this. Come on.
Yeah, we need to buy her some time.
As you say this, you hear footsteps from the end of the hallway. Dum, 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 dum. In unison, then out of sync, then back in unison, then out of sync. What rounds the corner are 50 to 100 Fire Nation soldiers. As they pile into the hallway, they all kind of take stance, seeing you all there. At that moment, Monk Gyatso steps between you two and back a step. He goes, I know a way we can finish this, but I need you to buy me some time. He steps down, crosses his legs, crosses his arms, and as he begins deep meditation. At that moment, time slows. You can see the hatred in the Fire Nation soldiers' eyes. You can see the blood of your allies spattered on their armor. What is Master Tufan thinking in this moment as everything slows?
Master Tufan is thinking, I need to take out as many of them as possible. It's actually quite strange. Like, he's never had his morals and vows almost so like fucked up in that, like, his wedding vow and his beliefs of protecting people, his wedding vows to protect Nuwan and be hers and look after her forever. Like, this is now in direct confrontation with his pacifist beliefs of not killing. He now knows he needs to just take out as many as he can.
Beautiful.
And that's what he's thinking, and he knows for him this is the end, but not for her. And he needs to make that. That's the one thing he can change. That's the one thing he can control, is he can make sure this isn't the end for Nuwan Beifong.
As he thinks that, you look down and you see the ceremony scarf that you wore at your wedding tucked into your armor. And you see that face of Nuwan as that sanctuary door shut. You've never been more ready. You've never been more at peace. You know what you must do. Sister Devna, what is going on in your head as you hear Monkey Yatsu and time slows for a second?
I've just turned my back on my sister, and my first thought was, what is the point? What has the point been? What is the point of all my training been? All the hours spent mastering my techniques, perfecting what I thought was so important, when I know, looking out now in front of me at what is ahead, there's going to be no way out. What was the point of missed family meals, missed family gatherings? I just like, fuck. Why did I spend so much time thinking that I was the best, trying to be a master, when what I've got is not going to beat all these people? Mother's gone, father's gone, I couldn't protect them. Nuwan, she's got to go, but I'm not going to see that smile again. I'm not going to see that person who has supported me, who believed in me against everything. It's fucking mad. What is happening? It's just goodbye, Nuwan. Goodbye.
As you say this, Sister Devna, you open your eyes in slow motion. And Tufan, you've noticed it as well. Sister Devna, your feet have begun to lift off the ground as you slowly and effortlessly begin to drift upwards into the air. There is nothing left for you here. And suddenly you realize You're doing it. You're doing it. Master Tufan, as you see Sister Devna take off from the ground as the wind begins whipping underneath her feet and growing around her, you can still hear Monkey Ass. What does Master Tufan do?
Master Tufan's gonna look back at Devna and be like, we've got this. He's gonna raise up his glider staff and he's gonna point with a finger directly at the largest amount of firebenders he can see. He's gonna slowly start spinning his glider staff. And he's gonna touch the arrow on his forehead. Think of Nuon one last time. Go. This is it. This is for you. He's going to adjust his back leg into a sprinter stance and start speeding up the spinning of the glider staff until it reaches terminal velocity and makes a thundering sound. He's able to reach his hand back, withdraw it, and keep the glider staff spinning without even being there. He looks back at Devna one last time before launching himself into the wind tunnel that he's created, grabbing the spinning glider staff that is now spinning at Mach 10 and sends himself flying like a missile towards all of the firebenders.
At that moment, Sister Devna lunges forward, air rippling around her as Monk Gyatso opens his eyes. You can see that they're rolled back in his skull as he sucks inwards, and almost like all the walls and everything bends for a second as all the air except for the one that is around you guys just begins getting sucked into his mouth. As you guys charge forward, the Fire Nation soldiers charge you, hands lit with flames, flames coming at you, and as you're about to collide in the center of the hallway, everything fades to black. And we cut back into the chaos of the front courtyard. You have Airbenders, numbers diminishing greatly. You can see that mostly red and black Fire Nation soldier armor everywhere. You can see a few Airbenders still holding off people and fighting off large numbers of soldiers. And in that mix, the one Firebender who stood with the Air Nomads, Asayo Kizu, fighting for his life, sees the airship move closer to the courtyard. As it comes parallel with the courtyard wall, a man who he knows oh too well. He sees bodies moving back and forth in front of his as combat ensues, his eyes locked on this man wearing dark armor, bald head, steps off of the ship. As he does, he begins commanding the troops in amongst the chaos. Get them! Make sure they don't escape! Sire.
I see what's in front of me. I see how this all is going to eventually end up. And I've gotten to the place where I want to be. And I take steps forward just enough so that I can be in earshot of him. And I turn around to everyone that is flying around me, and I yell with my deepest voice, General Zarek Kizu! Agni Kai!
As you shout this echoes as if spoken by a fucking airbender. This echoes across the courtyard. You see Fire Nation soldiers stop in mid-combat, turn their heads to look at you. As suddenly a circle begins to form around you. As people begin stepping back, the airbenders themselves know that something big is happening as they begin stepping back as well as a space clears. The man in armor steps forward. Who would it be that challenged me? General Kizu of the Fire Nation. Step forth!
You are not General Kizu to me. You are not Zarek Kizu to me. You used to be father to me, and you are not that now.
You see his eyes widen for a second as he then looks to his troops and his army. You hear that, boys? My son thinks he can challenge me to an Agni Kai. Boy, if that is what you wish, then I hope you have made your goodbyes, because today you will die. As he says this, he takes a bouncy Muay Thai stance with his arms raised and begins taking steps forward towards you.
I realize that he doesn't care about me. There's nothing there. He doesn't, there's no acknowledgement of anything besides that he wants to kill another adversary. And at that point I say, I have said my goodbyes, and I may die, but I will fight. I will fight you till my last breath.
You see him go.
And I get a stance as well.
Your stance is this beautiful mix between Muay Thai, you've got that front bouncy leg, but you've also got wide Kung Fu from what you've learned from the Airbenders, as he takes that traditional Firebender stance, that Muay Thai, bouncing front leg, and he laughs and he goes, oh, this is gonna be fun. As he then, boof, boof, shoots two big blasts of fire at you. The first one, whew, comes faster than you're expecting and clips your shoulder ever so slightly. However, the second one you're able to time a little bit better and you slip out of the way of. Over to you.
I am now calling on all of my learning from the Airbenders and hopefully drawing on something that he hasn't seen in his expectation that I'm just going to give him a Firebender retaliation counterstrike. And so I try to do something slightly different. I've actually been working on this. I've been dreaming about this. Wasn't necessarily him, but using my Airbender skills to come back at him. So I dodged that one, and this is kind of like a counter strike, a counter blow that will hit him. I'm going to hit him in a knee, just to kind of loosen his or minimize his mobility.
Beautiful. So as you slip that other one, you then lift up some air by just whipping your arm, and as you do, you know that this will ignite your fire with even more force. As you do, you ignite it, and the flames are like almost floating in the air here. As they begin to fall back down and dissipate, boom, you hit it with your other hand, and it blasts forward. As you do, Kizu is almost surprised by this move. It's almost like he's never seen anything like it before. As he goes to step out of the way, he lifts his leg almost to block as the shot hits him in the knee, and he falls to one knee for a second, gets back up. You hear murmurs amongst the crowd of Firebender soldiers, just like, oh, did you see that? What was that? Oh my goodness. As you hear the Airbenders, yeah, get him!
I reset my stance again in a hybrid Airbender Firebender stance. I haven't learned your ways, but I have learned ways.
He stands there, he goes, oh, I see. You truly are a mongrel. As he then steps forward and is going to go leg like low fire blast to the leg, as he then does an overhand at the same time, trying to get you to dodge two attacks at the same time. As he does, he's going to blast them at you. You manage to dodge the lower one as the top one goes to hit you straight in the face. You manage to cross your arms and block some of the flames from your face as some of your hair gets scorched and the flames kind of ripple around you for a second. You're like, ah! and it breaks and dissipates. You can see that he now, as the flames and smoke dissipate, is moving with lightning fast speed, even for his age, as he cuts space towards you.
I've never felt that kind of power before, and I understand his greatness more so than I ever have in the past. It's like I'm encountering someone that is foreign to me. This type of battle is completely foreign to me. But I know what my mission is now. I know what my destiny is now.
Cool.
And with that in mind, I take it, I fall backwards a little bit, and I just try to regather myself, knowing that I might not have enough here.
As you do, are you gonna strike back, or are you just like taking yourself, like trying to regather?
I'm just taking a step back right now,
yeah.
And I am just trying to regather and trying to get enough generation of energy and a force that I can do a counterattack again.
As you do, he slides into range, and he's gonna blast an uppercut of flames that is more deception as he throws a body shot, no fire, just pure body shot to your liver, and tries to hit you. Yeah, it hits. It's gonna hit you in the liver. You feel yourself as your body almost shuts down, but you manage to keep yourself up. By the way, you can mark 3 fatigue for the last 2 attacks, the last 2 or 3 attacks.
Okay. Although that hit me, that feels a little bit more familiar in some of the combat. And actually, although I'm a firebender, our training in the Airbender Temple has been to defend against all different styles. I know that style. And although it hit me and I was able to take it in the liver, I also now know what the counterattack to that is. And it's a leg sweep.
Beautiful. Amazing. So at that moment, you dip down, spin backwards, and go for a low leg sweep, trying to chop away. You add a bit of flames to it as well to add an extra bit of power to it. Can you roll a rely on skills check again, please?
So it's definitely a hit, but it's, let me just see, rely on skills. Is
7 to 9 or 10 and up?
It is 10 and up.
Beautiful. 10 and up means it's good hit. Yep. So as you do, you sweep his leg, him not expecting it. Again, this unorthodox move that he's never seen before. And you rotate, your foot skims across the ground with this thin buffer of air between that is just beautifully done. As you collide heavily with the side of his calf and you torch the other side of his leg, he whips down and smashes his head on the concrete. For a second there, you're kind of stood over the body and you take like a little step back to prepare for like another like attack if you want to, basically. But as you do that, you see him place a hand on the ground, look up, stands up. It looks like my boy has learned some stuff since he left our fine nation. As he wipes some blood that's trickling down his face from his forehead where he got cut from the collision with the ground, and he wipes it away. He's like, I was just going easy on you. Now you're fucked, boy. And he's gonna run in and he's gonna do a wild combination. You're gonna see jab followed by cross. Then he's gonna do a 1-2 with his kick. So he's gonna do a straight teep in midair followed by a roundhouse in midair as 4 blasts of fire come your way.
I am prepared for the 2. I know what that feels like. I've never even, that wasn't even in the book, the last 2.
As you dodge the first 2 easily, the last 2 hit you, and as both hit you, they burn and scorch some of your clothing. You feel some of the hair of your facial hair and the stuff on your head just kind of sizzle away. As you fall back, you feel your ribs break as you hit the ground, and you feel one of your arms that you tried to catch your balance with snap as well, in a place that you just weren't kind of expecting. It's like right up here, and it's super, super painful. As you lay on the ground, you cough, and blood comes out of your mouth ever so slightly.
I'm sitting there on the ground, and I'm starting to feel like he's overwhelming me. I'm starting to feel like I'm wondering whether I have one more strike. I'm wondering whether I want one more strike. This all feels just really, I know I wanted this moment. Did I want to kill my father, or did I want my father to kill me? I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking about right now as I see the rage in my father's eyes as he looks over me.
As you see the rage in his eyes, he goes, "Go on, get up, boy. Go on, come on, get up."
And I crawl to my knees.
As you crawl to your knees, blasts you again with another blast of fire, knocking you back. He marches forward. You hear the Airbenders, "Get up, Asayu! Come on, get up!" As you then see some of the Fire Nation soldiers begin restraining some of the Airbenders in the crowd. As he walks forward, he goes, "Come on! You're pathetic! Get up, boy! Get up!" As he continues marching towards you.
I say to him, "I'm not pathetic. Kill me if you can."
He blasts you again with another bolt of fire.
Kill me if you can.
He stands over you now, looks down on you.
You can't do it. You won't do it. You won't kill your own son. You won't do it.
Hear me now, boy. I have felt nothing but joy and happiness since the day you and that rodent mother of yours left my life. I have not missed nor thought of either of you until this day. And as he says this, you see him take a stance. As he begins moving his arms in arcs, you see yellow lightning begin arcing between his fingers.
I open my arms like this.
See him. Any last words, boy?
Make it good and make it final, Father.
You see him. As he does that, he lets out a massive bolt of lightning. You see this yellow lightning almost blind everyone in the circle as it arcs.
As that happens, I reach, my hands are out like this. I reach my hand in the field of the lightning, and I use my lightning redirection at that time to almost try to channel that lightning into my first two fingers.
As you catch the lightning in your two fingers, the blade of lightning between you continues to course as sparks are flying all over the place. You see his eyes change from this dominance to fear.
I am starting to feel his energy, the power, but that power is doing something different to me. It's starting to make me feel stronger. And I say to him, as I'm feeling this, "Oh man, you miscalculated."
He grips his arm and tries to put even more into it.
That energy you use, that's coursing through my body, you feel it? It's your energy, and it's my energy. It's our energy. You're my father, and I am your son.
As you say this, you're standing up and you begin now walking him down as he's backing up, Trill still holding this connection of lightning between you from his fingers.
I'm not only your son, but I'm younger than you, old man. I'm stronger than you, old man.
As he looks for a second, he looks almost for help from his comrades, and you can see that the Fire Nation soldiers are almost taking a step back. This level of fire control, this level of lightning control has never been seen in the history of this world. Whether it be the power of the comet, nobody knows what in this moment gave Asayo the ability to wield this lightning. But as your father stands there, you can see the fear in his eyes as he places his feet and tries to grit in for one final push with this.
You have no mercy for anyone. As I am you, I have no mercy for anyone. I am you. You want to kill me? I want to kill you. You did this to yourself. No mercy. And as that lightning comes through to me, I'm looking in his eyes, and I'm seeing that I want to kill him. And I'm also seeing that there's a bigger mission here. There's a bigger objective. And I let that lightning course not just through my arm, but course through what feels like my heart and starts channeling itself to my other arm. And as I get ready to land this kill strike, you want to kill on me? I will kill on. And as I say that, I bring my other arm up, and I point at him, and then pointed at the airship above him. On you and everything you believe in! And as I aim to the airship, I look into his eyes, and I fire.
Amazing. At this moment, what everyone else is seeing is almost like the sheer amount of force from this electrical connection is like sending gusts of energy outwards. Almost wind is building. You can see Asayo's hair flapping as his skin, as he lets the electricity enter his body. His fingers first begin to char and the skin begins to melt away as it begins floating away as ash. It continues down his body as electricity lines begin to short circuit and burn out his veins along his body. You can see his veins turn to black, solid things. As suddenly you can see bits of his face begin to peel away as he says this. And as he redirects this lightning, his father shields his face thinking that it's going to hit him. The lightning courses. It collides with the balloon of the airship. Lightning crackles around all the metal and everything in the airship. A massive hole rips open in the balloon as it begins descending rapidly below the temple. Suddenly to then, a massive explosion happens. Flames lick up into the sky as smoke drifts upwards. You see General Kizo turn. No! No! As he looks at the airship. Asayo, as you look at your father not looking at you, you feel this energy in your body more than you've ever felt, more power than you've ever felt in your entire life. You suddenly clock into your heart. Dum dum, dum dum, dum dum, dum. And as you release the blast, your heart explodes in your chest. The immense pain ripples outwards, but you realize from about here outwards you're numb from the electricity. And as you take a small stumble step and another one, what is Asayo's last thought?
I think as I look at him, I say, you did this to yourself. But as I look at him, I'm also realizing I did it to myself. And I fall backwards. And what I see is me as a 5 or 6-year-old, a young kid. And there's my mom right next to me. And there's my father's arm around me. And I look up and he's laughing and he loves me. He loves me.
And as you say that, the blood fills your eyes internally, and the sky that was already red turns a deeper crimson as everything fades to black. What ensued next was terrible and awful for all Air Nomads of the Eastern Temple. The destruction brought was terrible. However, we are now going to fast forward 6 months into the future. And we find ourselves in the Earth Kingdom in a small tea shop in Ba Sing Se, the great city. Sat at the table in this tea shop is a gentleman with white hair and white cloaks, sat in front of a pai sho board. He plays pai sho against someone that we know, though she looks very different from when we last saw her. Nuon Beifong, having fitted a fully metal arm underneath her sleeve, now has a metal hand that she plays pai sho with. And as the camera pulls away from the pai sho table, you see Nuon, heavily pregnant. She slides the last two pieces of pai sho pieces into place, creating this lotus flower shape on the board. The person sat across from her says, "Ah, I see. I understand. You wish to speak to the White Lotus, it is." Nuon places a hand on her stomach. "Yes, that I've traveled quite far to speak to them, if that's all right." You see him nod. "Follow me," as he leads Nuon into a back room of the tea house. There she encounters 3 more members of the White Lotus. She stands before them and they say, "What is it we can help you with?" She stands in front of them. "I have come bearing news. The Fire Nation have destroyed all of the air temples, and I believe that they're going to continue to perform attacks upon the Earth Kingdom and the Water Nations as well. I was told by someone called Magpie Games to tell you that Avatar Aang is still alive and that there is hope for all of us." They all look at each other in surprise and look back. "Do you know of his location?" "No. All we knew was that he was somewhere in the south. Magpie Games told me that if I told you, you guys could begin looking for him and possibly put a stop to this Fire Nation attack, the genocide that they're causing." They look amongst each other. The one in the center, Grand Lotus at the time, says, "This is incredible news, something that we had no idea about. We hadn't been informed that the Avatar had been found. If that is the case, then we shall begin action immediately to try and find him. We thank you for coming as far as you did. We do not know the struggles you have been through, Nuon Beifong, but we appreciate that you have come here to tell us this information. You have fulfilled your duty. Please, live your life free now. Enjoy your life." You see Nuon look down to her stomach and rub it as she looks back up and smiles and goes, "Thank you. A great weight has been lifted from my shoulders," as she turns and leaves. And as she exits the tea house, the sun kind of catches her in the eye. She sees children playing in the street. She swallows hard. And the camera fades to black. As the camera then fast forwards 10 years from Nuon Beifong delivering that information to the White Lotus. As the camera fades back in, we see a much older Nuon, no longer pregnant, grey hair coming in, stood outside of a beautiful home. A young boy, about 10 years old, runs up to her and hugs her leg and says, "Mom, Mom, can I come with you, please? You know I've always wanted to go see where Dad and you used to live. Please, Mom, can I go?" Nuon places a hand on her son's head and says, "No, young Tufan, it is not your time. However, one day when you are older, I would be glad to take you. But Mommy needs to do this one by herself. At that moment, another child, about 3 years old, scuttles out and is like, "Mama!" This beautiful little girl. Not black hair like her son Tufan, but beautiful blonde hair. She picks her up and gives her a big kiss. "Mummy will be back soon, darling. Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry at all." And then, in the doorway, a gentleman steps around the corner. He goes, "Here, give me her." And he takes the child from her, puts her over her shoulder. He says, "Nuon, I love you so much, and I know you need to do this. So please, be safe along your travels, and we will see you very soon." She looks him in the eye for a second. A tear rolls down her face as she says, "Thank you. Thank you so much. Your understanding means the world to me." As she leans in and kisses him before turning around and picking up a backpack filled with bedroll and all the supplies she might need. She puts the backpack on her back. She turns back to look at her family. Says, "Now Tufan Jr., you make sure you look after your dad and your sister now for me." He goes, "Don't you worry, Mom. I've got this." And at that moment, the camera fades to black again. We fast forward 2 months as the camera fades back in to Nuon with wind blowing around her, hiking up a mountain. She's got like a scarf over her eyes and like hood kind of low down, and you can see her with her metal arm like grabbing onto rock as she crests the ridge. What she sees in front of her is the island in which she was born. She sees high atop 2 of these mountains her home, the Eastern Air Temple. And she thinks to herself, "Holy shit, I'm home." As we then cut to Nuon having made her way across the island to the temple, climbing the stairs to the central front courtyard of the central pagoda. And as she looks up, she can see the debris from the pagodas fallen apart. The most far right pagoda is almost completely destroyed. The top half of it is completely gone. Where the archives were, it's completely gone and destroyed. As she comes up to the courtyard, the wind rushes through as she sees skeletons laid across the place, still in Airbender armor, that leafed armor that they were wearing. Many bodies strewn around, along with that of Fire Nation soldiers littered around as well. And as she walks through these bodies, careful not to step on anything, she soaks in the destruction around her. And she comes to the center of these bodies, where there seems to be some sort of open space. There at the center of this open space is a skeleton unlike the rest. It's charred black. The skeleton wears a combination of Airbender armor with then Fire Nation colors underneath. She recognizes the clothing almost instantly of a good friend that she once knew. And she kneels down to the skeleton, takes a deep breath. "Oh, Sayo, you really did it this time, didn't you? Well, I pray that your spirit here in this most holy of places found its way to the spirit realm, and that you now fly with the great fire dragons of old, and that you equally glide with the sky bisons, because you were no firebender, you were no airbender, you were something completely different. You were a Sayokizu, legend. And as she says this, she separates her arms as the ground around his skeleton begins to turn to quicksand, as his skeleton sinks into the ground, as she seals it back solid, places a hand on the concrete. Rest well, my brother. As she stands back up and looks at the temple, sighs deeply, and almost not wanting to, but having to, looks to the northern wing of the temple. She sees the hallway where the sanctuary was, and there is a colossal hole blown in the side of it. She begins making her way over there. As she gets into the hallway, light coming in through the hole that she climbed through in this hallway, light streaming in and just lighting up all the beautiful decorations and things that are still on the wall. And bits of debris that were pulled off the wall by Master Tufan lay on the floor. And as she turns to look to the right, to the end of the hallway, she sees a pile of skeletons, Fire Nation soldier skeletons. In her head, she thinks there must be 200, 300 of them there, and the pile reaches all the way to the doorway. She looks to the other end of the room. Sat in front of the door is a skeleton, cross-legged, wearing traditional monk garb, very similar to that of the Dalai Lama, the large medallion in the center. She recognizes that to be the body of Monk Gyatso. And as she looks to her feet, she sees two skeletons, far from all the others, dressed in Airbender armor. She knows instantly who they are. And as she drops to her knees, she begins crying, ever so slightly, before she goes, "Hey, Devna. I should say Master Devna. You always hated sister. I'm so sorry that I left you here. But you'll be glad to know I had kids. I didn't know I was pregnant when we last saw each other. But I have a beautiful son called Tufan Jr. And I have a beautiful daughter as well. You would have loved her. She's so much like you. She just wants to be the best. Even at 3 years old, I see her practicing her forms already. I miss you so much. I have no one to talk to. No one who understands what I went through. No one who sees me for who I am. I miss you so much." But she then turns to the skeleton of Tufan. She goes, "Hey, Tuf. It's been a fucking long time, hasn't it?" "I'm so sorry, Tufan. I hope you can forgive me. I have moved on and have found love elsewhere. And I hope you forgive me wherever you are and know that my heart always lies with you, no matter what. Never forget that. At that very moment, the wind from outside suddenly picks up as a large gust of wind ripples through the hallway, hitting Nuon in the hair, and her hair kind of flopping back as she goes, whoa, whoa, okay, I get it, Tooth. You forgive me. As she reaches into his armor and pulls from his neck their ceremonial wedding scarf. She holds it in her hand, doesn't say it, but thinks, Woshini Day. As she then places the scarf around her neck, performs the same as your bodies both seep into the concrete. She seals you guys in the concrete. Hope you both rest well, and I'll bring the kids to meet you one day. I promise. And you'll love Mark. I know you guys will. He's a great guy. Goodbye again, I guess. I didn't realize I'd have to say goodbye to you a second time. But here I am. She grabs her bag and goes, I'm gonna go sleep in another part of the temple for the next couple of nights until I make my way back. But thank you for the life that you have all given me. It means the world. And as she says this, she turns around, climbs back out of the hole, and makes her way up into the main temple building to go find somewhere to rest after her journey. And at that point, the camera is going to fade to black. This time, we're going to fast forward 90 years into the future, towards the end of the 100-Year War. And we find ourselves in the South, as the camera soars over the water. It suddenly arrives at a large iceberg, a large ice-scape. There at one edge of it is a large dome-shaped piece of ice. And as the camera flies over it, the light refracting through the ice shows that there's some large creature, maybe a small boy, suspended in this icy tomb. And as the camera flies over, you see two young southern tribe people. A young lad with a ponytail and a boomerang in hand, and a young girl with little loopy pins of hair that come down, black hair. As someone's in there! Oh, we gotta help them! A massive gush of air comes out. And the camera fades to black again. For the final time, we fast forward 6 months into the story of Avatar Aang and Team Avatar. As they all have found one another, the camera fades back in to the inside of a luxury house, a gorgeous house made with granite walls and obsidian stairs. As the camera flies through this house, it flies into a bedroom of a young girl. This young girl sits upon her bed. She has a green and yellow headband, and she wears green and yellow clothes. Her name is Toph Beifong. And as Toph, blind in the eyes, sits on her bed, She debates in her head. How can that Twinkle Toes be the Avatar? He's so freaking annoying. And did you see that girl that was with him? She thinks she's all that. And they want me to teach him how to earthbend? Ridiculous. Preposterous. I can't do it. I can't leave mum and dad. I can't leave here. Plus, I've got my fighting career to keep going. No one's going to keep smashing the boulder if it isn't me. As she leans back and places her hand on her bed, she feels something under her hand. She grabs it for a second and then begins passing it through her fingers. As she does, though she cannot see it, she knows it is the silk scarf that once belonged to her great-grandmother, Nuan Beifong. And as Toph sits there, passing this through her hands, she thinks back to all the stories that her mother and father used to tell her when she was a child, that they were told as children about great-grandma Nuan, who was the first earthbender to marry an airbender. Isn't that crazy? Not only that, but she fought to defend the airbenders even though she was an earthbender. To the death. And of course there's the story of her defeating a prison run by firebenders, but that's another story for another time. And as Toph thinks about the courage of her great-grandmother, the woman who she looks up to more than anyone in her life, she thinks, great-grandma Nuan always leapt. She was so brave and she always leapt into that unknown. Damn it. Damn it! If I don't help that freaking Twinkle Toes, I know I'm gonna regret it. And you see her stand up from her bed as she folds her great-grandmother's scarf into a nice square and places it into her bag. She grabs her bag and quietly sneaks down the stairs as she hears her mother and father debating in the living room. Did you see what Toph can do? Did you know about her earthbending abilities? No, I had no idea. What do you mean? You've been teaching her earthbending? As Toph sighs, sneaks out the door, and disappears in the night to meet up with Team Avatar. You all know the rest is history. And that is where we end our story. Thank you all so much for watching Avatar Legends: The Last Breath, Fall of the Airbenders, here at Homie and the Dude with us. We appreciate you guys infinitely, and we hope you enjoyed this epic tale of heroes, unsung heroes, that put themselves on the line to save information about Aang, to inspire the next generations, to take that leap and be bold even when all odds are against you. We hope you find some strength from watching this series, and we hope you enjoyed this story massively. We will be back in 5 to 10 minutes, probably 10 to 15 more like, but we'll go with 10 minutes for our post-session clarity show, where we will break down not only this episode, but the whole series this time, where we're doing our final post-session clarity show for Avatar Legends, and we will break down the whole series, talk about this episode in particular. So if you want to ask us any questions about how we came up with this story, anything about the series as a whole, the system, anything like that, please leave some questions in the comments. We'd be happy to answer those during that time, guys. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back in 10 minutes. See you all. Oh, excuse me. Leave you on a burp. See you guys then. See you in 10. Bye-bye. is up, everyone? Sorry about that. We're just having a little break after all that chaos. Can we check audio, Becky? Can you check Facebook or something? Just going to do one more quick audio check for you guys as we get into this post-session clarity. Make sure that you guys can hear us still and that we're all good. Make sure that we're all good. Can you hear us all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all good. Cool. Welcome back, everyone, to our post-session clarity show where we will be breaking down, debriefing, and talking about this Avatar campaign that we have just run, this 4-part series. But first of all, we're going to break down this episode. Before we do any of that, though, I want to quickly just say, as a GM, that was the most pleasure I've ever had running a session. Thank you, cast, for being as incredible as you were throughout that whole campaign, but specifically that last episode. That was fucking off the chain. That
Well
was
done, guys.
amazing.
Yeah, well
I'm
done, guys.
blown
Yeah.
away.
So
Blown
I imagine that
away.
was simultaneously also the most painful session you've ever ran as well.
Yeah.
In many ways.
For sure, 100%. As a GM, I've never emoted that much, I think, during a session.
Yeah.
So let's break it down. Let's talk about it, guys. What's some stuff that you guys want to bring up?
Well, obviously, none of us knew the epilogue. So,
Yeah.
like, your scenes of, like, just the timeline, different timelines, and what the heck, Nuon being pregnant, like,
Yeah.
that just
That took
was,
me by
like,
surprise. There was part of me that was like in my brain, going, "Oh, should I mention to Bodhi? Like, is this a thing we should do?" Like, it
Had you
occurred
thought
to
about
me
it?
that the idea had occurred to me of doing something like that because obviously, like, you know, Toph is descended from Nuon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what kind of what we're going for from the start.
Yeah.
But I hadn't actually, especially in the moment, it took me by surprise as well. Like
Dude, writing that epilogue yesterday, like I said, when I was writing, like, the Nuon's pregnant and it's Tufan's baby, and I was crying while writing it. I was just like, this is fucking awful. I was like, this is so sad, dear God.
So technically, though, did Nuon and Tufan have a baby out of wedlock?
Yeah, probably. They
yeah, I
probably,
guess we must.
Because it wouldn't have been
Yeah.
on fucking Briefus as we're like going across the sky.
well, they
Right.
maybe on the ship, like, as we had left the island, maybe.
I reckon
like,
it
on
was.
the
I reckon it
ship.
was likely night or two before the wedding, like that kind of thing. Like you
Yeah.
like made the baby then, and then she then had the period where she then is heavily pregnant, and like 6-7 months in, you know, she's really pregnant, and
Yeah.
you know that's what we saw her at the White Lotus, you know, at the tea shop.
Makes sense.
But yeah, don't like. Fuck, man. I like knowing the bit as well where young Tufan is there and is like, I want to go see the temple with you. Fuck, man. Just brutal. Just so
Good.
brutal.
Probably a good thing that she didn't take him along.
Yeah.
That was
Lots of bodies.
a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
skeletons. Well, not bodies at that point.
Yeah,
is it?
yeah,
It's
just
like
skeletons.
mainly.
The final stand that Tufan and Devna had and Gyatso is incredible.
Yeah.
A stack
Thanks.
of like 200
I also love,
Firebenders.
I have to say, Tracy's monologue in her head was spectacular. Ben's description of his ultimate was spectacular. Like, both of those moments were just so powerful and so good. Becky lined up the music beautifully. Like, all of it just worked immaculately in that scene. And I think, you know, for me, I felt like it would have been cool to describe all that combat, but I think we had so much more power by it just like that being the last thing that you kind
that
of
was
Yeah.
perfect. That was
Sure.
perfect.
I think sometimes less is more.
Mm,
Like our final thoughts, and you've just fading those scenes to black to go
Yeah.
to the next scene. I think really like is sometimes more powerful. You know, death, fighting. Like seeing that almost has less impact than what you did.
Yeah.
So
And I think
great.
similar to like a lot of things, like what people conjure up is often more powerful than what you can put into words.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when we set the scene for what they know is going to happen, like
Yeah.
then they, you know, they can kind of conjure that up from there.
Also, I have to say, Tom, as you like catch the lightning and your lines back to him of like, I'm stronger, like I'm better than you, old man, like was just fucking go. And also, the music that Becky had rises and falls with what you were like. It was perfectly timed. At one point, and you're like, and I directed the other airship, and it was like da 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 da. And I was like, yes. I was like, this is so fucking epic. Yeah, Tom, your whole like death scene, I think, was just, man, it was just beautiful. I loved the combat between us. think the push and pull of our combat was really nice. Him just being overconfident, and then you like having this moment of just pure power. And I think also the scene of you describing your last thought being, you know, in your father's arms and your mum being there, that was just beautiful as well. I wasn't expecting
honestly.
you to go that deep with it, and I think that was just spectacular. Because I think the other thing that you left to question, which I really loved, it wasn't like, oh, I flash back to. It was in my head, I'm picturing, and it's like, cool. Did that memory happen? Is that a real memory where your dad and your mom, like where you all were that close at one point? Or is that just something you're fantasizing about in that moment? And I was like, I love the idea that we don't know. We just don't know what went down,
And
you know, in that flashback.
all of that just works to make the whole fucking thing so much more tragic as hate
It was
crazy.
beautiful.
I think I tried to go for the not all hate and anger vibe, and wanted to put like the tragedy of, you know, that the love was lost, you know, that he was just, you know, the whole thing was just so sad for him.
I think a line you said as well, like, I'm not sure whether I wanted to kill my father or I wanted him to kill me, was a fucking great line as well. That one hit hard as well. That was a beautiful line that I just absolutely loved. I think you guys persuaded Nuon really well to go and like I put up some resistance to you guys. I was like, no, I'm staying. You know, for a little bit, and I put up some resistance to you guys, but you did a really good job of just being like, nah.
Yeah.
Like you need to, and you being like, be the hero, Nuon.
That was nice. That was nice.
But that's literally how it would be, because you know when you're in a situation and you know that people you love and what have you are like in a hard situation, but they're telling you to leave. There's a level of you that's going to stay. So you played it great, where it was like difficult on, you know.
Yeah, I'd also say that was a moment more than ever where I think you needed both Tufan and Devna, right, to have that happen, because and like basically that was also just a moment of like Tufan and Devna like being like totally united in this goal of like, Nuan needs to get out of here. She's already wounded. She's not going to be able to like take another fight. And she needs just to get out of here, get those kids out of there. You know.
I love
and
it.
Like,
and I think, you know, what I hope we achieved with this whole series is just, you know, telling a story of, like I said, unsung heroes, people who, you know, aren't remembered by history, but we filled in that blank now so that everyone knows. Like everyone knows. And I think the bigger thing for me about this that when I was writing the epilogue, the final scene with Toph was something that I hadn't originally written. And then I thought about it later and was like, how, like, yes, Nuon, you know, being a thing, being Toph's great grandmother is great, but how have our characters, other than saying that Aang is alive, like, how have they directly impacted this story? And like passing the information that Aang's alive, massive thing. Giving hope to the White Lotus, huge thing for the plot. But Toph choosing to teach Aang how to do earthbending, connected to Nuon, means that there is a direct line to these characters, and a reason why Aang was able to then defeat the Fire Lord that existed in his timeline and like defeat, you know, all of that, is because Toph then stepped up and taught him earthbending. That comes directly from Nuon. Like, that's the thing that I really like wanted to get in there as well, is that not only are these characters unsung heroes, but actually when it fucking comes down to it, if these characters hadn't have done what they've done, Toph would not have gone with Aang as his earthbending teacher, and Aang would not have defeated the Fire Lord, and everything would have been a shit show. Do you know what I mean? So
we almost wrote the chapters of the book that were missing, in a kind of thing, in a way. You know, we made some chapters that are not said come to life almost. You know.
And it's a nice piece that wasn't addressed by Avatar in the original in the original storylines, and it fits really nicely in there. So I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of Bodhi did. I mean, can I just say that like your performance in that last episode was, you just keep raising the bar, like it keeps going higher. Yeah, it was really nice.
I mean, what blows me away continually is when Bodhi's doing storytelling or just setting the scene for us, and in that moment his mind is so dense with what is happening in the scene, and you're able to verbalize that and give that picture of, part of me was, you know, as I said, when he fell down and wiped, you know, the blood
General
from
Kizu.
when he fell down and, you know, hit his head, but then wiped the blood from his face from it trickling down. I mean, the fact that you are there in that moment and you made me visualize something that I probably in my head couldn't visualize as clearly and as profoundly as you put it. It was like
I appreciate
insane.
that. I think, you know, the one thing I hoped, like the hardest thing I think for a DM is to convey atmosphere and convey like the shit going on around you, because like all players are insular in their moment and what's going on, and I think even DMs are insular on players' moments. And I think one of the things I've been trying to work on is keeping the outside world just as active as whatever's happening with you. So you know, having the temple collapsing and shaking from blasts, and you know, having, you know, Tom trying to like see his dad, and there's people like moving in front of him, and like it's chaos on the battlefield and stuff like that. I feel like for me, that is what, when I'm looking at storytelling, you know, I'm not just looking at like, oh, you know, fucking Captain Jack Sparrow is jumping on the ship and blah, 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 you know, kind of thing. I'm looking at like, oh, what's the crew doing in the back? Like, how is this all related? Like, what's the chaos? What's the atmosphere of this moment? And I think, you know, just to like, again, Pirates of the Caribbean, weird reference in my head, but the scene where at World's End where the guy's walking down the staircase and it's like blowing up behind him as he's walking down this staircase, like that's an atmosphere. You are suddenly like, holy fuck, this is crazy. And that's kind of what I was trying to like get across. And I feel like for any GMs out there, that's something that I think a lot of us miss. And don't get me wrong, I don't feel like I hit it all the time, but when I do, it does double the like moment. It like makes it even better if you can capture, you know, not just what the players are feeling, but what's happening around them, and then how that then is affecting the players and what they're feeling. Do you know what I mean?
I think that makes us better players or actors, whatever you want to call us, cast or what have you, because we are then actually feeling like we're in that moment, where maybe for us it's difficult for us because you say you're so concentrated on who you are, you're suddenly giving us like a scene escape, you know, for us to
if you just run when we're doing the combat outside at the start, if you just run it and just go, cool, this move, then this move, then this move, then this move, and just describe the moves insular like that, like when it came down to, you were describing a large amount of firebenders sneaking around the side. I probably would have just gone, hey Devna, let's go after them, whatever. You know, as opposed to like, wait, no, I need to fucking find Devna in this big battle. There's a big difference between those two things.
I fully agree with that.
I think another thing that kind of happened organically that I thought was awesome was when you chose, Devna, when you chose to take out one of those
tanks.
The tanks. And so it felt like that added like
objective to
objective. Well, the thing is, like, my killing the airship was all the more like that was it. Like, it was the airship left, and just so it wasn't like, oh, there's tank. Like, if I would have just taken out the airship, then others would have been like, well, we got fucking 4 tanks that are coming over. Like, the tanks were taken out. So it was nicely positioned as well. I thought that was a really good choice. And then
I agree.
And then we took out the second tank as well, which was great. Well, you mentioned something during the break. You said, I kind of harnessed my emotions in there. What you said it was really like a moment for you as a GM.
Yeah, like I think in that last bit, especially I think for me, the scene when Nuon, and I knew like when Nuon came back to the temple, especially with you two, she was going to like walk into the room, and instead of being like, like she did with Asaya, which is like, prayer, like a bit more thing, it was just her going to be like, I've missed these two people and I just want to get some shit off my chest for a hot second here. And I just want to like talk to them as if they're still here. So for me during that scene, what was really interesting was I experienced something new, which was I was like in full emotional emoting. I was in my emotional memory. I was pulling out the feelings. But then what I was able to do was like between the bit where she's talking to Devna and then I'm describing her looking at Tufan and changing, I managed to pull my emotions back to being able to GM like a proper GM and then unlock it again for that next bit where she's then talking to Tufan and being like, I hope you can forgive me. Like, I hope you're okay that I've moved on in my life and that that's okay with you, kind of thing. And for me, what was really interesting and weird was that I've never experienced is usually if the emotions get too high for me, the next little bit that I do is hard for me to then pull myself back out of those emotions and then get back to just GMing, and do that. But this time I felt a really clean slide between those. Do you know what I mean? And though it wasn't maybe as clean as it could possibly be all together, it was the best that I've done it. So I felt really good about that today. Was what I was talking about.
And I just loved, there was a moment where I just thought this felt so real. And it was when you went to save the young boy. And because a battlefield it would be chaos in there, and you had the two people walk in front. I loved that. To me it felt, I was like, oh yeah, okay, this just gives me this whole level of like, what's going on? Like you see in battles, you know,
body
arms
parts
and bodies
exploding and
just
shit,
like people going in front of others, and you know, I thought that was particularly like.
I feel like one of the things that they do in movies really bad, and something that a couple of things have done really well, but one of the things they do in movies really bad is when you have like a large scale battle, you have the main characters and it's like, huzzah, I'm stood in the middle wielding my sword with lots of room to like kill anyone who comes near me. And it's like, if you watch, for example, Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones, there's a scene where they get compacted, a wall of like horses compact an army in, and they're also squished that Jon Snow is in the center, squished, trying to like climb out to breathe in amongst all these people because he's getting suffocated from the amount of people around him. And I think to me, that's one of the things that like feels like real war. And like along with that, when you're in battle, if you look at old school battles and you look at how movies do it and then how close that is to real representations, if you imagine soldiers and horses colliding or soldiers and soldiers colliding, it's just like a dude is next to you, like, stab that guy, fucking, oh, I'm stabbed, oh, stab you, oh, fucking, oh, arrows just hit me from over the top that suddenly just came from nowhere. Like, it's pure chaos. There is none of that, like, oh, step back, oh, come on, fight me.
And everything around has stopped and is like, focusing on that. That's not like that at all.
It's not like that. It's pure chaos everywhere. And people are getting backstabbed. That's like the biggest thing. Is like backstabbing is the biggest thing. Yeah, you're like, haha, killed you. And then someone's like, shoot. And you're like, oh, you were behind me the whole time? Oh, shit. You know, like kind of thing. And like that is super realistic. And I want to, whenever I do big scale battles like this, have that come across. Do you know what I mean? Of like, it's fucking mad. Like you trying to get to anyone, trying to like move your way through the crowd is hard because again, people are swinging at you and other people are swinging at each other and like.
And there's bodies on the floor. I mean, so it's not like you can just like walk your way around and be like, I mean, there's just debris and whatever is, you know.
It's also why I had when you guys were like, cool, we're peeling off to go after those guys. I was like, two people attack you as you turn to like fuck off. And Gyatso like protects you basically of like, cool, you guys are still in, just because you're like, oh, we're leaving now. It's like, actually, you're still in trouble. Like, actually, there's still problems here. I feel like, for me, like, I think Ben just, like, above and beyond, like, coming in from session one where you've never been on camera, you've never done anything like this to here. I think your performance today, dude, was spectacular. Like, I think the way you dealt with things, the way you thought about stuff, and the way you described things was freaking awesome. I think it was absolutely great. Like, absolutely awesome.
Nice. Had you planned that final attack with?
I had planned it, but I you know, never quite nailed it. You know, like I never quite had like
you nailed it today,
every single step.
Yeah, you nailed it today.
There was I wish I had added some extra shit in. I should have added something in about like that candelabra like being sucked into like the vortex that I was trying to create and things like that. I don't know, something.
Yeah.
But like, you can always improve on something. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I think also it's one of those things of like, as you know, you go, oh, Bodhi, you're thinking about all this stuff as a GM, and you're including like, you know, I'm doing callbacks to like certain things, I'm doing stuff, but that's just the shit I remember. If I had like, there's so much stuff that I often forget and like is like shit laying around that I'm like, oh, there's actually a sword there, and oh fuck, no one picked it up. You know, like that. Like I often do that as a GM, so I think. Don't beat yourself up about that stuff. Like that's, I think Ben, like the moment for me where yours like ramped up into next level is you're like describing, you're like, and I'm spinning it, and as I take my hand away, it hits terminal velocity. I was like, oh shit, here we go. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to jump in there and actually do that. Was cool. Like, dude, I wasn't expecting. I didn't know it was gonna happen. I thought it was a really nice, and that was part of. I know Monk Gyatso's power, and that had a lot to do with the
killing.
pile.
Yeah.
But I think as much both of you had, it was the three of you that caused all of that damage before you guys went down.
And this is the other thing, like Sister Devna's bit, though it wasn't like, and you fire yourself at Mach 10 at them. I think anyone who knows Avatar knows the significance of levitating. If you've watched Legend of Korra, you know what levitating means. And you also know what it takes to levitate as an airbender. Sister Devna releases all earthly ties and can levitate, meaning that she is the most powerful airbender in existence in that one moment when she levitates. Also, it means that when she dies, no one knows that anyone other than Guru Langhima has levitated. No one remembers, and no one knows that Devna managed to achieve that level of airbending prowess, which I think is also fucking poetic as anything. Like, that is so beautiful that, later in Korra, they're like, oh, fucking Zahir's learned how to levitate. That's crazy. No one's done that since Guru Langhima. It's like, actually, no. One person did, and they fucking died while doing it because they were defending the fucking temple. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
It was
that's
never
epic.
truly witnessed by the outside.
There were no surviving witnesses.
Yeah, surviving. Yeah, exactly.
And I think, yeah, it was just great. It was just great. There was so much of that I just enjoyed. Like, I loved all parts of that. Like, I think also just us describing the lightning, going like the lightning and you pushing him back and me being like, he's trying to give you, and you being like, that's fueling me more, was like, I was just like, this is so epic and cinematic.
I wanted to convey, I'm not sure how clear it came out, is that the strike against the airship was basically the combination of both of our lightning. You know what I mean? Like, I was harnessing his lightning and bringing his lightning through, and then using mine as well to make it this epic. Like,
yeah, it felt like that, because then also I was like, and he lets it off, and you shoot it through, and it's like all of it kind of comes through.
Yeah.
I thought it was real. Like, that moment was nuts, dude. Like, just nuts. I like. Tom and I were like, fuck, man, we would love to get this story animated. Like, could you imagine this animated? Could you imagine, like, Devna, like, taking off Tufan, being like, what the, and then being like, spinning it, and then you, like, those moments would be crazy epic. We have this, like, Harry Potter moment with fucking,
here's a question. Is it
Zarek?
too morose for, like, actual, like, public consumption? Like, if they were to animate it, would they be like, but it needs to be more feel good? Or would they be like, you know what, this is a story arc that can, like, counterbalance all of, because also I think if it was animated, you could introduce a lot of levity, especially in episode 1. There's a ton of levity. In episode 2 on Briefus, there could be as well some levity.
I feel like
it is kind of dark though.
We also had in episode 3, we had the two like doofuses in the archives. We had moments of levity here and there, but I think what I would say is if anyone were to animate this, like, it would need, I said to you outside, it would need to be R-rated. Like, it would need to be like something where people understand that this Avatar story, like, yes, Avatar Aang and all of his stuff and Korra, that's all PC because they deal with shit PC. This was not dealt with PC by the Fire Nation. Like, it's not like, to me, it's like, this has never been PC. Like, the Air Nomad genocide is not PC in any way, shape, or form. Like, anyone who thinks that, or PG, or fucking 12U, or anything like that.
It's almost disrespectful to try and PC things in that way. Like, it'd be like, if there was a story about, like, the Holocaust or something, and you try to, like, sugarcoat it and make it, like,
add comedy
somehow.
Add fucking Marvel quips to a fucking story. Add Marvel quips to a fucking Saving Private Ryan would be awful.
And or like to Schindler's List, that type of thing. It's not a fun story,
Exactly.
And that's the thing is, like, I think this would need to be portrayed if we did ever make it into anything else. It would need to be portrayed as like, this is not like, you're coming to watch a drama. Like, you're coming to watch a drama thriller. You're not coming to watch a fucking, like, comedy, romance, whatever it might be. You're coming to watch a drama thriller, realistically, is what it is. Has anyone got anything else about the series or this episode in particular that they want to, like, bring up or highlight or even just say altogether?
I was going to mention the back and forth between Asayo and his dad.
Yeah.
When I thought the just as like a fight scene was really nicely done. I liked, like, your descriptions of, like, the moves and why they were doing them and stuff. It as someone who's, like, I think fight scenes are cool, but I never like I don't know I have no like theory knowledge of like martial arts or anything like that. So it's just really cool to have that described in that way. I thought that was good.
I think one of my absolute favorite bits is when I'm like, and he takes his Muay Thai stance, he's got his bouncing front leg, and Tom goes, I'm gonna take like a mixture of Firebender and like Muay Thai, and I got to describe you being like, with that front bouncing leg of like, cool, let's fucking go, buddy. And then you using Airbender techniques to help you. Fuck, dude, it's just so cool. Like, I feel like that's something that was missed in Avatar, and you kind of get it with Iroh learning, water bending to teach the lightning redirection to Zuko and like all this different stuff.
Yeah.
I think, crossing the bending styles is something that hasn't been done yet, and I'd be very interested to see, what Earthbenders could learn from, fire or water, and what each bending could learn from each other and develop even better techniques and stuff.
The other thing about it is that it says so much with so little.
Yeah.
Like for example, like the thing with Uncle Iroh learning a bit of water bending for the redirect lightning.
Yeah.
And Asayo using these airbending techniques in his firebending to enhance it. It says so much about the character, the fact that they respect another culture enough to learn so much about it that it actually benefits them and repays them in time. Like that says a lot.
Fully agree with that.
One of the things I thought, and it came in the moment, was me acknowledging that there's a reason why he is General Gyatso, because he's a fucking badass.
General Kizu.
General Kizu. He's a fucking, like, I was like...
When I was like, and he and moves with speed that's unlike his age, you were like, uh-oh.
Yeah, like I'm not seeing, like, I'm dealing with something that I've never even...
Yeah. Oh, it just says it's low battery. A second. Why isn't it charging?
Go.
Oh, that's so weird.
Wait 1 minute.
It's not
We'll
charging.
be back.
Sorry, guys.
We'll be right back.
1 second.
Stay here.
Here, let me just try this. It is picking us up. Yeah. I don't know why it's not charging, which is odd. Right, well... One sec, guys. Sorry. Here, let's try this. Let's try my charging cable with it. Sorry, guys. We don't know what's going on. Our mic receiver is not charging at the moment, which is not in any way your fault or our fault. Don't worry about it, guys. Shit happens. There we go. Now she's charging. There we go. We're back up, guys.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. We don't know what went down there, whether it's the cable or what's gone, but we'll work it out next time for you guys. Sorry about that. What were you saying, Tom? Sorry.
No, we were just talking about General Kizu's it was a different level of combat that I trained for some of it, and I could understand some of his moves because we had, in the airbending temple, I could understand training against a firebender, but there was just additional advanced master moves that were like they're nowhere to be seen. These are like he's taking it to a different level.
So what I wish I had actually teased in. So when I was deciding, I decided in the moment that I was going to tease that Nuon, outside of like her family life and stuff, had also taken down a firebender prison, and like I teased that little story a little bit. I wish I'd mentioned that she'd killed General Kizu. I wish I'd been like, she'd fucking gone and killed like the great General Kizu. Just because that would have been a really poetic, like she fucking finishes the arc for you guys. But hey ho, no, neither here nor there, whatever. Cool. Anything else from anyone about it? We all good?
I think
We all happy?
Yeah, super happy.
Yeah.
Go on, Ben, what were you going to say?
Oh, like literally the only thing that I feel like I could have done better was my ending move. Like I thought I could have done something better about it, but literally that's it.
It's fucking perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, guys, obviously this arc is, happy through to, sad moments, other, moments of levity, moments of happiness, but also very dark stuff. I hope that anyone who watches this, finds something that they can relate to, within these characters, within this story. We want anyone to know who is suffering with, you know, anything like depression or anything, you know, suffering with any sort of mental health. Grief is a big one, you know, that we talked about in this story a lot. If you're struggling with anything like that, please get help. Talk to people around you. There's nothing more important than that. And, you know, we hope this story shows you that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Even in the darkest moments for, you know, people, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, for this story, it was Nuon Beifong. But for, you know, your personal story, who knows what that will be. So we hope you can find something in this plot that means something to you. Just as much as it meant to us. I have to say, this plot, I will never forget us telling this story. This has been epic. This is one of the best, like, TTRPG. I personally think one of the best plots that I've ever encountered in storytelling, whether it be movies, television, animated, whatever, books, whatever. I think this is up there as one of the best. I just want to say again, thanks to you guys, my cast, for sticking through me with this crazy plot idea that we had like fucking a couple of months ago that we've been, you know, running through and coming up with characters and dissecting bits and all of that. I want to say a massive shout out to Becky, our live producer, who has been adding incredible music, which adds mountains to the scenes, adding much emotion and atmosphere to everything that was going on. You will have noticed that there was few times where there was zero music, and even if there was zero music, we've probably chosen that for a reason. So, you know, Bex was all over that. So shout out to Becky as well for that. It's been a pleasure as a GM. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like, I couldn't have asked for anything more as a GM to have a better cast, better plot, amazing live production, music, all of it was fucking top class. So for me as a GM, I'm super, super stoked. Other than that, if you enjoy Homie and the Dude, I recommend you go check out our Discord server. We have a community of over 700 people in there that are TTRPG fans. Everyone shares ideas, talks about life and shoots the shit with each other, as well as also you know, bigging each other up and supporting each other as a community. So if you're interested in that, join that. As well as that, we have our newsletter of holding. In that newsletter of holding, you can receive free TTRPG supplements created by us here at Homie and the Dude, things that you can use in your games going forward. As well as that, you'll find out more about any upcoming or current projects we are working on at Homie and the Dude. At the moment, we're tracking towards our airship combat Kickstarter that we're working on at the moment. And we've made a massive, massive announcement about that, which I'm going to release here as well. If you are interested in airship combat, we really recommend checking out our pre-launch page, any information that we've put out there. However, we will be adding something to these new rules that we're putting in the game, and that is our ship builder app. So what we're going to be creating is an application where you can go in and create your very own custom modified specific ship, airship, that you would like in your game in TTRPGs, specifically 5e to start off with, but we see it growing into all vehicles and many different systems for you guys. But yeah, it will be a place where you can choose specific parts to piece together the perfect airship for yourself and your party at your table, which will be really, really fun. So that will be coming in that airship combat Kickstarter, guys. Finally, the last thing. What's coming next for Homie and the Dude? What's next for Homie and the Dude? And I want to first of all mention, we've talked a lot about, you know, this is our first venture into the world of Avatar Legends, and we would very much like to revisit this whole world, whether it be a different time era or what. We would very much like to revisit the Avatar world. One of those plots we're definitely considering doing is a prequel for these characters early on in their lives when they all first met each other, so you can see an earlier part of these heroes' stories as well when they were younger, and we can have a lot more levity and fun with that campaign. It will be a lot more fun and lighthearted, so we're looking at doing that. But coming next from A Homie and the Dude, we have a project, an AP stream, that will take our wonderful cast here to the stars and beyond, as we will be playing Orbital Blues next, the depressed space cowboy TTRPG. Our plot will be similar, very similar to that of like Cowboy Bebop. You know, these guys will be a crew of lowly criminals trying to just make it in this hard solar system that they live in, as they deal with foes from the past, from the future, and from their present. And as they all work towards the goal of reaching Andromedan Arcadia. And that's what our series will be called. We look forward to you guys joining us here for that series and us telling a whole new story with amazing characters. Thank you so, so much for taking the time to listen to this story. We love you guys. I love you guys. I love you, Becky. I love you all.
Love you.
Right. Thank you guys so much. And we will catch you guys in the next stream. See you then, guys. Bye, bye, bye.